Yes. This is the first of STILL MCR podcasts at Circle Studios in Stretford. I'm joined by Caveman. What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm chilling. Little poorly.
Dope Manchester artist, battle rapper, member of No Space. We've got plenty of stuff to talk about, but I think I want to start like kind of at the beginning for you. So, what I'll ask you really, like, for you, you know, how did you get into hip hop? Because to me, you're a proper hip hop artist. We've got rappers, but you're a proper hip hop guy. So I just want to sort of know about like your journey into hip hop and like, you know, as a kid, like what were you listening to? Have you always made hip hop? Like, just talk us through it, really.
Yeah, so it's a roundabout thing for me. So I guess I really started to get into hip hop because of my boy Biggin, who's a beatboxer, and he started beatboxing, started going and doing open mics and stuff, and he started to introduce me to a lot of stuff. Like some of the first things we used to listen to would be like Jurassic 5.
Yes.
And I remember some old Akala's music. He had this one tune called Find No Enemy it was off his, it might have been off the Double Think album, but it was that kind of era of stuff. And like around that same time was when like SBTV started popping off, so we was learning about different things through that. But as a kid, I was kind of slow, so the first rapper I ever remember knowing about was 50 Cent.
Yeah, the big one for our era, I think.
He was like a superhero almost, innit? Like the story of 50 Cent was more than like the music almost. But then I never really drew into it when I was like in primary school era. I was more into like, I liked jazz music and stuff.
Okay.
I liked like Stan Getz and Tito Puente and stuff like that. So I think I kind of drew into rapping in a sense from stuff like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, I love Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I think as well. How old are you?
I'm 27.
So you kind of like that sort of like rap metal era, that Limp Bizkit era and all that kind of thing as well.
That kind of thing.
I know Fred Durst isn't the best lyricist, but I do, you know what I mean? But I'm talking that sort of cross between that like heavy guitar sort of, you're into all that kind of thing,
somewhat,
like faster rap vocals and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That transitioned it for me.
Yeah. But then that's quite like, it's quite a juxtaposition in it between that and the sort of like the jazz influence. And all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I was in a band with... No, Bigham wasn't part of it. When we was in high school, towards the end of high school, we had this band and we would do like ska tunes and like the usual like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Rage Against the Machine covers. But I used to freestyle then over like ska beats and stuff and just make up like joke songs or something. So I wasn't really thinking of it as rapping.
Yeah, but it was rapping. That from that sort of like era and that. Cool.
I always remember as well, it was a Red Hot Chili Peppers thing. It was give it away now. It'd be like, if you just say the words, give it away, it's one thing, but he doesn't. It's a role to give it away. And that interested me, like, there's like, there's something here that isn't just the things that you're saying, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that bomb track on that Rage Against the Machine, bomb, that boom. Yeah, the slap bass stuff and all that, cool.
And Know Your Enemy, that was one, he's more big, straight rapping a little bit on there.
Big. They did a cover as well, didn't they? NWA cover.
They got a whole album. It's the album with Renegades on it. I can't think of what it's called right now. It might be called Renegades, but they've got a full album of all hip hop covers, and they've got like EPMD covers and Cypress Hill and stuff on there.
So that's sort of like, you know, a bit about your musical influences and all that kind of thing. So when did No Space start?
So No Space was mad because it's I guess it came together from a bunch of different relationships. So it was like Black Ice and Tobaja like grew up together making music. Yeah, he's amazing. He could do it all. And then Chi Prophecy met Ice whilst busking, and we knew Blue from college, and I knew those guys again through Biggin. Biggin did like a music project with Ice back in the day, and he would always come and tell me about, there's this kid who's like 12 and he's the coldest. And
so how old were you when you were when that formed then?
It was a slow
sort of a range of ages and that kind of thing.
I was about 19, I think.
Right.
No, probably maybe 20. And it was a thing. We did it through Contact. Contact had this project called Level Up, where it's like it was like a 6-month project where you worked towards releasing the EP.
Oh,
so you
okay,
got, like, free
like a
studio
funded sort
time.
of like workshopy thing.
Yeah.
Facilitated.
And we had some good facilitators. Fallacy was a part of it.
Oh,
Very
sick.
Black was there. Dyslexis. Singer called
Yusuf.
Royal Lark. Yeah. A bunch of people. I'm forgetting someone now. Oh, Chunky Caveman was involved for a bit. There was a bunch of people. And kind of, there was about 13 of us did it. And by the end of it, a few people kind of fell off and a few of us kept rolling with it. And from there, another couple people fell off, and then we kind of
formed the original. Yeah. I love No Space, man. I like how you're still, going with that sort of. None of you's are mic shy as well. Like, you're all proper, all proper rappers. You've all got your own styles. Like, it all comes together. You all support each other's like solo bits. We'll get onto your solo bits and that in a minute. But yeah, so if you've got any more plans for like No Space, I know you've been doing them shelling nights as well. If you just want to chat about that, I was supposed to go last weekend, but I was so ill. I was like, I can't. I've got to give everyone the bug. But yeah, in Charlton.
Yeah. So I think all of us, you're right, we come from performing live. And so one of the ways we got to know each other, I used to run a night called Leaning, where we had like a lot of cyphers and it was quite MC focused.
I love that, bringing them cypher energy back and all of that, like proper cyphers as well. Do you know what I mean? Like hold your ground cyphers and because I think I was seeing someone moaning about cyphers the other day, saying like it's the definition of like what it is has kind of changed a little bit. It's not really waiting your turn and then like passing filming it all and it is like how many bars can you go for and then somebody else can pop on and and you've got to like build yourself up a bit within them kind of circles, like as a rapper. And I think that's something that you guys like have still got that sort of like, just like that realness about you as a group of rappers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went on a bit of a tangent on cyphers.
No, you're right. You're right. I think like ciphers more and more have become very produced.
Yeah,
I think it's to do with like the YouTube era and stuff, and now it is like you say, like everyone lines up and everyone has their 16 or 32 and you do it and that's that. But like there used to be a night that I used to go to when I was like 15 that was called In the Loop, and they had
Big Up In the Loop.
Yeah. And the ciphers there was amazing. And for me at that age, like being in ciphers with MCs who I thought were incredible, like it was very inspiring. And so that was something I brought into Leaning. And then Shellers, we just kind of wanted to make something happen.
Yeah, we can love that for hip hop in the city, that them kind of nights are still going. That's what I was thinking about, like In the Loop and all, and back in the day, them kind of ciphers and Golden Egg and all that.
Yeah.
And, it's just important that these things like keep on, and the new eras of rappers coming up as well. So yeah, to chat about your solo stuff a little bit then, I wanted to talk a bit about the Riverdon EP first. So that came out last year.
Yeah, last summer.
Just wanted to talk about the kind of, ideas and concepts that you brought to that and your approach to writing on that and how it came about.
Yeah, so that was one where it took me a long time to put that together. Or at least it took me a long time to get started on it.
Okay.
And for years I'd had projects 80% done and ready to put out, and then just never made it past the final 20%.
So other than singles, is this your first sort of complete project, finished project?
Solo, yeah. So my approach with it was, I was quite like, I project managed it myself. Like I gave myself like a timeline. I had like a what do you call it? Like a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
that
sick.
For every tune
Organised.
had, is it written? Is it structured? Is it recorded? Is it mixed? Is it mastered? And then the same for like the distribution. And so I had to force myself through it. So I enjoyed that process a lot, because I gave myself nowhere to hide behind, really. And a lot of it was stuff that I'd written over the course of lockdown. Kind of my life changed a lot during lockdown because I had a kid.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I knew we were having a kid before lockdown, but
it wasn't a lockdown surprise.
No. So we knew we were having her from like the November of 2019, and then 4 months in to the pregnancy, the lockdown happened. So yeah, like the I just feel like the stakes got higher
Yeah.
for me in
Yeah.
life. And so I knew I had to start working on things if I was going to be bothering with them. So that's a lot of what was going on when I was writing that music.
Oh, so you said before about like that sort of structure you had to like making sure that you were working through the stages and you were meeting your deadlines and you were getting it all done. Do you have like sort of writing practices like just for writing your verses and stuff? Are you quite strict with yourself, that kind of thing? Like, do you have a sort of a routine, or do you sort of write every day, or do you have like a couple of months where you're in your writing bag and then you're in the recording, or how does it work for you?
I've always wanted to be one of them people who write 16 bars a day.
Yeah.
But I can never marshal myself into it. Now I need to be inspired. I can make myself write, and often I can do stuff like, put on an hour-long instrumental and just write to it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily get that much out of doing that.
Yeah.
But I think doing that for a few times in the week, you might do that on the Thursday and the Friday, and then on the Saturday or Sunday you might then more naturally feel inspired to write.
Yeah, but to sort of keep you in that headspace of being able to write, isn't it?
Yeah.
To sort of be able to say, like, I'm not gonna use this, but it's still like beneficial to be sort of like in that zone of creativity. I suppose.
Yeah, for certain. And
Wicked.
you never know what's going to be the thing that you take and run with it. Like one of the lead tunes on the River Don EP is By the River. And the hook to By the River was like that was the first 4 bars of like a 64 bar verse that was for like a drum and bass track I made during lockdown. And somehow that transformed into being the chorus of a hip hop tune. So it's just important to keep writing.
Exactly, and just sort of use all everything that you've got, really, innit? Like nothing. Even if you think something's not gonna be used, like you said, like you're not even like necessarily making drum and bass music, but it's there, and then you've been able to. Yeah, that's sick. My favourite one off that is. One Time.
Yeah.
I love that. But it's kind of like a grimy beat, isn't it? Like, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wicked.
So I produced that one.
Oh, is it? Self-produced?
That one. That and one of the other ones, Do Today.
Yeah.
I produced both of them. And then one time I just... I remember making the beat. I'm feeling like I should add more stuff to it, but like feeling
the sparseness in it is sick. Like that's what kind of makes it. It's like an older grime beat kind of thing. That's sort of what you produce on?
Logic.
Okay,
yeah,
sick.
It's a little Logic one. But again with that one, so I was just about to say this actually. I like to kind of like reference back to my old bars and remix my own stuff. It's something I noticed that Method Man does a lot, where he like. There'll be little like homages to previous songs he's got. So if you listen to a bunch of his music, you start to feel like in his world. And like the one time I used to have that verse we used to do this show at the end of No Space sets. And I'd always have this verse where I touch mic and I straight up shell it, and I'd have a different version of it for loads of different words. Like I touch mic, it's a straight palaver. I touch mic and it's this, and just remixing it and coming back to it again and again.
So almost like self-referencing yourself in it, like sick. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, when you listen to a lot of catalogues of rappers, like you said, like people like Method Man, and you do hear that they're sort of like they're not recycled bars or anything. They're just kind of like respun. Do you know what I mean? I get what
exactly.
you're saying. Yeah, sick. What else could we talk? I actually wanted to talk about your newest release as well.
Yeah.
Brewin Suttin with Chef Lowry.
Yeah.
Wicked. I love Condiments. Never had a big tune, and I'm hoping that you are going to be working together more.
Yeah.
Is that something that's in the works?
Yeah, it is. So Brewin Suttin is. I wrote that in one day, and there was a third tune as well that nearly made it on there, but I decided to hold on to. So me and Chef, we connected through a mutual friend, Jay Chambers.
Oh yeah, Jay, yeah.
Who did last summer. I was supported Jay at his show at 33 Oldham Street, and I got chatted to a producer afterwards, and he was like, "Yo, I liked your set a lot. I'm gonna send you some beats." And like, I've had that conversation a lot of times, and more times you never get the beats. And then more times you don't particularly like the beats. And then more time, even if you do like it, nothing happens. But this one time, he sent me like 10, 15, no, more like 10 beats. And I liked a good 5 of them. So I'm
sort of the jazzy influence ones.
Yeah. And there's one, I think it was the one that I didn't put out. But like it comes in with this sample. It's like a 4/8 bar sample chords. And I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, I like these chords. And I heard this drum pattern in my head. And I was like, oh, please let this be what happened. And that's exactly what the drums kicked in at.
Almost like,
and I was like, all right, this is going to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're working on some more stuff now.
Yeah, it's sick. You both like really complement each other's sounds. I thought it sounded like, do you know what I mean, really well-rounded sound.
Yeah.
Wicked tune, Condiments. It's out now, isn't it, on Premiere Battles YouTube. You could go check the video for that, Condiments. Is there a video for Never Had coming out?
There might be.
Yeah,
but
you've
it's
just
not.
seen
I'm
about
not working on it
the next projects. So have you got a lot coming out in 2023?
I've got nothing locked in right now, but I've got 3 different projects that I'm kind of tinkering away on.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be dropping at least 1 more time this year, probably 2 more projects this year, I reckon.
Yes, this is the first Still MCR podcast that we're filming at Circle Studios. I'm joined with Caveman.
Yeah.
Big up. We've just been chatting, and so your video Condiments is out now on Premiere Battles.
That's right.
And I just wanted to chat to you about the battling new venture that you've been on. I've been catching up on some of your battles. Wicked. So your most recent one was against a guy called Cooper, was it?
That's the most recent one that's out now.
Oh, so you've done another one that's not out right now.
Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was watching that and like, it's like the theatre, innit, really? Like with battle rapping, like you've got to have that sort of like, you know, presence, and you've got to have it's a whole different aspect of rapping, right?
Totally different from doing music.
So I just wanted to know like how you found that.
Yeah, man, it's been a really fun transition. So I was a battle rap fan for years.
Yeah,
like
flop days, jump off days, and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
I think one of my boys met a guy called Chronicle at Open Mic, and Chronicle at the time was running Don't Flop at like the Thirsty Scholar and the Saki Bar and even Ram and Shackle, I think. But we was a bit too young to get into those kind of venues at the time, so we just started watching him, like high school era, and it was stuff like, I think Bowski vs O'Shea was the first one that I was like, yeah, this is amazing. What is this? And
you had Days of Frisco, Eddie P.
They
were sort of Siggy as well. Big up Fizzle.
Yeah. That whole time.
Great era.
So yeah, I was a fan from then, and I think around that time, like the Eddie P and Frisco, Lunacy and Matter era, loads of people got into it, kind of thing. And it was really popping.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people I knew kind of were interested in it for 6 months, and then it faded away. I just stayed interested, really, and then I thought about battling a couple times over the years, but it never really pulled me in until I got an opportunity to. I think probably a lot of people found over lockdown that stuff you always thought you'd have time to do. You realise actually let's just go and do it, because there won't always be chances.
Yeah.
So I got the chance to go and do it, and I did my first one, and it was.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I watched that Cooper one, and I was like laughing my head off about that Just Eat bar.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, and like your presence and all that, and like it takes a lot of balls to do that kind of thing. And then when I realised like your debut, was 2021.
Yeah, like 6 months.
And you've had literally like a handful of battles.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it, really. I was like you can tell, do you know what I mean? That you're good. It's something that you're meant to be doing as an artist. Like you've got that performance about you, and you've got to be so witty, and like, you know, there's so many different aspects to it. And I was like, you know, for someone who debuted like 2021. And that's Shaun of the Dead bar had me off, you know.
Yeah. I love that one.
You've got to give it to him, you know.
Yeah. So the writing the first one, I think, is always different because you've got no idea what you're going to say until you've done one. I think the biggest jump is the first one. And after that, it's incremental jumps every time. But the Cooper one, what I was trying to do was I was trying to push my performance more. And that was the first one we did on a stage. Normally do them in like, they call it like the pit. Like where everyone stood around you. But I got there and the battles before our battle had been in the pit. And they had a stage, it was off the square. and I went and stood on the stage for like 15 minutes before the battle and like basically dragged it up on like
sick. Okay.
like forced it onto the stage,
yeah.
did it? Because I wanted to try that. And I actually personally think in the Cooper battle I kind of overperformed a bit. I think there's a bit too much shouting and stamping, but I'm glad I went to the extent.
And then you can see that, and then you know where you can. You have to have experience in these kind of things. Like it's not something that you know you do once or twice.
Yeah.
It's something that you build up and did you win that last one? Yeah.
I think so.
I think you would.
So.
Yeah.
They didn't judge it.
How does it work? Because you know. I'll just sort of find out about like where you are within the battle and all the leagues and all this kind of different things. So are you like sort of the entry level league, or how does it work?
So Premier Battles are kind of the biggest league in the UK.
It's Briggsy and Shotty's league.
Yeah. And so then there's other leagues like No Loose Chat, the Trenches, there's Don't Flop, a few other ones who are
King of the
Runnels kind of finished up now, but yeah. So Prem have like they have different tiers of events. So they have the massive events, so you got internationals and the big names and
big
stuff.
American names and that kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. And then but I started out. The first one I did was on an event called Undisclosed, which is more like small room settings. And yeah, well now how it works is they've split it up into like an actual league. So you have like teams and there's like a leaderboard and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're part of it's like representing a team now.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah.
Oh, sick.
So I'm on a team called Venom. We're winning our league at the moment. We're in like the second division. Yeah. Very big up the crew.
So will you be doing that like throughout 2023 then, like different, you know, up and down the country, or is it mainly like sort of Manchester based with your battling, or how does it?
Well, I've done 2 battles this year. One was in London and one was in Manny, and I've got another one booked in for the summer, which was meant to be in London, but is now going to be in Manny. But they've got like an island division as well, and there's a lot of talk about trying to make something happen in Nottingham or Birmingham, because it tends to be quite polarised. It's Manchester and Leeds, or London and Bristol.
So how do you approach your sort of writing? Because, you know, if people who've listened to Caveman's music, it's quite a different vibe from battle rapping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your rapping's very chill, like it's sort of, you know, like positive vibes and stuff. And then battle rapping, you know, sometimes you've got to let someone, you know, have it a bit. And you've got to be there with all your really heavy punchlines and all this kind of thing. So, like, is that sort of a bit of a cathartic thing for you? Like, you can sort of enjoy both sides of it?
It is, yeah. I feel like more than maybe most battlers, I end up in a bit of a moral dilemma a lot of the time.
Okay, let's talk about
because I don't know.
Should I say this?
Yeah, basically, is like I don't feel like I'm naturally nasty, so I have to force myself into it, and I have to think about like, am I okay with it? And actually, I think if everything I've ever said, I've probably said some things that I did it in my heart of heart believe, but I don't think I've ever said anything that I feel ashamed of myself for having said.
Yeah.
So I like to try and...
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of boundaries, I suppose, with it.
Yeah. And I just like to look at people in it, and I look at people and figure out...
Observe.
Okay. I laugh at it, basically. The art of it for me is stepping back, finding your angle and just... You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do too much if you find the right way to go at that person.
So, talking back on, like, your plans for 2023, then, who you in the studio with? Are you working on a lot of your own releases and that kind of thing? Yeah. Obviously, this will all be alongside the battle rap and your other plans for 2023. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, man, so I'm working on bits and bobs. So I'm working with a producer called Strange Soul, who used to be known as Twisted Roots. And
is this that same sort of kind of like jazzy, like boom bappy hip hop beats? Yeah,
he produced Problems off of the River Donny EP, so we're going to be working on some stuff. I've got another thing coming with Chef Lowry. I'm producing more on my own, and then I've got a collaboration with Chi from No Space. I've got another tune with the No Space guys. Me and Jay Chambers have been working on some things that, if we can get them to where we're happy with,
they'll be coming out.
They'll be coming out. Yeah. That It's mad because I've got so used to working with No Space over the years. Like working with new MCs is like it's like going back to square one.
Yeah, sort of finding ways to that you can both contribute to a project and that kind of thing. Whereas that's something you might not actually have to think about with the No Space guys, because it happens like organically kind of thing over time.
But I do think, I say square one, it's like square one is further forward now because I've got this foundation here.
Yeah, of
square one's
experience.
pushed
Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
so
I get that.
it's coming in at a good place. But it's, again, it's just making sure that everything's exactly how we want it to be.
So where are you going with your sound at the moment then? Like, sort of what kind of things you're exploring?
Well, I'm trying to keep on this like jazzy kind of feel. I'd like to do some more acoustic stuff over the year, and I think I've come to a place now of being quite confident in the way I write and I rap, but I think I can be
finding your own, like you found your own sound and approach to it now.
Yeah, I think I've found my sound, and now I want to integrate. I want to be more aware of what I'm talking about and trying to maybe be a bit more open.
Okay.
And in what I write, and that's hard for me because I think my natural instinct is to go towards sound, and I like to write in riddles and stuff. But I'm trying to be a little more open.
Yeah, a little bit more sort of, not explicit in the sense of explicit, but you know what I mean? A bit more on the nose with some kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah, man. So we touched before on some of your musical influences and how you got into hip-hop and stuff when you were younger. But, like, who are you listening to now?
I listen to, at home, I listen to Stevie Wonder more than anyone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I listen to Stevie Wonder, and I like to listen
Favourite
to
Stevie Wonder?
Probably As.
As
is probably my favourite Stevie Wonder song. And then I listen to like quite a lot of older music. Like I like to listen to kind of like older reggae, like 70s reggae music and stuff. And then the MCs I like Manga. I like Merkston.
Yeah.
I listen to, there's a singer called, she's not a singer, she does sing a little bit. It's a rapper called Akua Naru. She's super dope. I like No Name's music.
Yeah, man, big up No Name.
And
caught No Name in Barcelona a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sick.
How was it?
Yeah, it was really sick, yeah. Wicked. I don't know if she's played over here, like, in a long time.
I've never, I've never seen her. I think it's getting harder for people to come and tour the UK these days. More and more people are skipping the UK out of their tours. It's
the difficulties of the music industry is like, you know, whole of a like conversation in it, man. Like, I think from what we've touched on today, though, like one thing to take for people to take from it is like what you were saying, though, that the fact what I liked was the fact that you said, even when you feel like you're starting from the ground up on a project or working with another artist or whatever, the experience and the effort and the, like, you know, time that you've put in before that means that step one is never quite the same. It's always elevated, and you're always on an upwards journey with it. I just think that's like something that's like pretty important to remember. Do you know, even when you feel a little bit like, oh, I've not done this before, or I've got a lot on with trying to release this whole project. Things like that. It's all part of the journey, isn't it?
I think especially as an independent, it's you have that. It's like you're comparing yourself to you're comparing yourself to the biggest artists in the world a lot of the time, and that's a problem, or it can be a problem if you lose perspective of it. But I always think, you know, like people have done a lot more with a lot less, and it's always worth coming back to that.
Yeah, you have to do it for you, innit? That DIY sort of attitude with it.
And recognise when, like, your relationships with people are valuable. Like, it might be your friend who can knock together a picture for you online, and it might only be a little thing, but them having that skill that's now part of your operation. And don't undervalue the fact that you have that. And I try and keep reinvesting.
It's an organic process with you, and that's something that, like, it comes across, and it will benefit you in a lot in the long run, innit?
I think so.
Man.
And you gotta love what you do.
Of course.
It
That's the main thing, innit? Like,
if you love it.
It's the main thing. 100%. So, in terms of Manchester music, is there anyone that you're more in the talks with work? I know you mentioned Jay before. Is there anyone else who you sort of either really listening to, or you're hoping to work with, or you are working with?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of people's music, but I think part of the no space thing is I'm so strongly rooted in that creative relationship that when I'm working outside of that, I like to work on my own. Yeah. Because it's a different sense of freedom for me.
Yeah, I get that.
But there's people whose stuff I love. Like I did a session with Not For Many. It was a couple years ago now, but he's that's a friend of mine, and we did like one session, and he like mixed my vocals in a way that I'd never heard anyone mix my vocals, and I was like,
you know what he loves? He loves a bit of auto-tune, innit?
Yeah. So there's definitely people I'd like to work with, but I think at the moment I'm just enjoying working on my own thing in my own way, and I think I can bring more to collaborations.
And having a career in music isn't always you being the performer either, because I know you do like your creative facilitator as well.
Yeah,
so you've like working with like youth projects and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the main thing I'm doing with that at the moment is because that's been a story of 10 plus years now.
Yeah, that's your career background as well.
Yeah. The main thing I'm doing now is we're working out of Longside Youth Justice Centre. So we've got like a little studio set up there, and like once a week or so we have music workshops there, and we do facilitation and songwriting and stuff. And a lot of those kids, because they're like 10 years younger than me, like they are listening to totally different music, and they teach me stuff all the time. And yeah, I think music, it changed my life, being involved in music, and just creating spaces and having something positive to be focused on changed my life. And so where I can help people find that for themselves, I'm
that's
always
such an important thing as well, like just being able to give back, and like you said, like with the journey of music and stuff, it's not always about sort of trying to push yourself and all that kind of thing. At the end of the day, like you have a career in music, and that's such like a special thing. No matter like what that looks like, on a day to day. It's not every day you're on stage, or it's not every day you're getting interviewed, or that kind of thing. But it's just really important for people to sort of realise that, like the work that goes into, and all the different elements of what a career in music can look like. Do you know what I mean? 100%.
Time Elijah's got a bar on a tune called Sky's the Limit, and it's a simple bar, but it goes, "This music kills pain, I'm not trying to be the best." And I think that I like that, is that like your art doesn't have to be competition.
Yeah, and it's not to say, nothing will, it's not going to like blow for you, or whatever the people's idea of blowing is.
Yeah.
And it's not to say any of that. It's just that doesn't always have to be the main, the main focus of something like.
You get me?
When will they blow up? Like,
yeah. And I think even when people blow up, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you've got to go back to your bedroom at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you need to be comfortable when you do. So
100%.
Like, I'm not too worried about.
No, the thing is, you guys keep it. You keep it real with it. You put the efforts in. You've got the open mic nights. You've got the battle rapping. You've got the creative youth work. You've got your own productions. You've got representing like Manchester in multiple different ways. Representing UK now in the battle rap and that kind of thing. And just boxed it off, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, yo. I'm gonna take that away with me for my Sunday, man.
Yeah, 100%. So just want to let the people know where they can hear your music, and you've got a Bandcamp. Yeah.
It's CavemanM8 everywhere. So mate, letter M, number 8.
Yeah.
CavemanM8. I got the Brewin Suttin is streaming now with Chef Lowry. The Riverdon EP is streaming everywhere. The Condiments music video is on the Premier Battles channel. I've got battles on Premier Battles. At CavemanM8 on Twitter, Instagram, and get in touch, innit, because if you're gonna follow me, get in touch and let me know what you do as well, because like we've just been saying, everyone puts something into the pot and then we all have a good time in it. So yeah, that's me.
100%.
Peel. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.